Hi, my name's Austin Kreida, and today we're talking about car weights and weights in your car.
Today we're going to talk about putting weight in your car and how to do that, where it should go, and what shape it should be. So if you can see, we have a variety of weight here, and all of it we weighed on a scale. This piece is 2 pounds, and it's about that thin. This piece is 4 pounds. It's quite a bit thicker. And then this one's 3 pounds. These plates are 4 pounds. These little ones, that one's 2.06 pounds. And so some of the things you need to know about the weight is, when you have a lead weight, the rule book calls out that you have to wrap it in tape or plastic. The rule book also says that all the weight has to be a bright color so that you can visibly see it. The other thing is, the weight has to have your name on it, because if this weight comes out of the car during a race, it's an automatic DQ, and they're going to know whose weight it is because it has the name on it. If you don't have your name on your weight, they can DQ you in tech for not having your name on the weight. So all our weight has our name on it. The smaller weights can have 1 bolt in them, but if it's over 6 inches in any length or width, it has to have 2 bolt holes in it. So that's why all of these have 2 bolt holes, because they're bigger than 6 inches. The other thing about the weight is, all the lead weights have to be covered in tape, or they could be in plastic, but the easiest thing is to get bright duct tape and cover the weight, because they don't want the lead in contact with any of the kids' skins. The weight also, it can't be any higher than 5 inches below the bottom of the car, so it has to be within the first 5 inches of the car. It can't be mounted up at the top of the car. And the other thing is, all the weight has to have 1.5 inch fender washers on it so that the bolt can't rip through the weight. Now they say that the washer only has to be on the belly pan side, but we always put it on both sides just to make sure. The other thing is, you can't mount the weight to any body panel, or you can't mount it to the fiberglass side piece. It has to be mounted to the floor, or it has to be mounted to something else that's metal, or the frame. It can't be mounted to a bumper. When putting weight in your car, don't forget to remember that your helmet weighs something, the gloves weigh something, your Hans device weighs something, your race suit weighs something. So you pretty much have to put everything in the car plus your driver to make sure that you get the proper weight. So here's a typical car, and we're going to talk about where you can mount weight. All weights, they must be in this belly pan area right here. This car just has one little weight up in the front, but it can be under the seat. It has to be mounted to that belly pan. It can't be mounted to the metal panels, can't be mounted to the fiberglass. Now this car has a metal shield on it, so weight can be mounted in the side pod as long as you're going through the side pod and the metal shield to support the weight. This car also, under here, has a kick out in the frame right there, and you can see that you can mount weight to that kick out, but it's actually mounted to the frame rail, and that's how they want you to do that. The weight can't be stacked up any more than 5 inches. The weight has to have bright colors with your name on it. It can't be mounted, behind the seat above 5 inches. So typically it's mounted to the floor pan, and we could take one of these weights, we can drill a hole, and then we can mount that, sort of like that. And if we need more, we can put them next to each other. We try and keep them in an area like in the center where it doesn't interfere with their feet. And sitting on weight like this is pretty rough as well. That's why we go to the metal plates, because you can bolt the plates in and they're thinner and the driver won't notice them under his seat. So now we're gonna look at some weights for cars and get this thing on a scale. So we have our driver standing on one of our scales to see how much he weighs, and we got Austin here. Hi, Austin.
Hi.
And looking at the scale, he reads about 114, 115, so he would be a heavy driver. So at a race, they may call him to a race and say, all heavy drivers to the scales. And what that means is drivers in the heavy classes have to be at least 100 pounds. And the driver, that's in normal street attire, one shirt, shorts or pants, street shoes, you know, no racing gear. Just how he's dressed right here. So now we have our car on the scales to see how much our car weighs. And this is the car with no equipment. This is just the car itself. No safety gear, no equipment, no added weight to it. And before we tell you what the weight is, here's the USAC sheet that tells you how much the weight should be. They just changed this year, so the ones that are in red are the cars that went up in weight. So this orange car is a heavy Honda, which used to be 325, which is now going to be 340. Now the number on the far right, the 160 pounds, that's the minimum car weight. So your car with no driver, no safety equipment has to weigh at least 160 pounds. And then with the driver and all the safety equipment is the next column over, the combined weight. So we have to be, by the new rules, 340, but since we're still on the old rules, 325. So you can see some of these classes changed a little bit. The rookies didn't change, but it looks like most of the heavies, where the drivers are over 100 pounds, the car weights changed, looks like around 20 pounds. So this car right here, at the scale says 204 pounds. So with nothing in here, it's 204. I don't even know how you'd get this car down to 160 pounds. That's pretty light. Okay, now we're going to get our driver to get in the car with all the safety gear, and we're going to see what it weighs then. So now we got our driver in the car, and we're going to look at what the new weight is. And the weight is 320. So we're 5 pounds underweight at this point. So you say to yourself, well, I gotta add 5 more pounds of weight in this car. But when you start adding safety gear, we got our race suit. We've got our gloves. Here's our gloves and our handcuffs. And then the big one, the helmet, which weighs 3 pounds. Here you go, hold the helmet. And now that we have all our safety gear loaded on the car, we are at 330 pounds. So we're 5 pounds over the minimum weight. And don't forget, gas weighs something. So if you have a full tank of gas, it might be an extra pound or two. And now we're going to take a look at where we put weight in a car. So now we have the hood off the car, and you can see we put a whole bunch of weight in here. We have the green plates in, we have the little pucks, and then we can move them around. Like we could put one up here, you know, we could put another one right here. And don't forget, when you bolt them in, you need the fender washers. I recommend them on both sides. And then we have other weight that we put in here. And don't forget to put your name on it. We write how much weight, you know, the amount of poundage the weight is, just so we know if we have to remove or take something out. And all the weight pretty much goes in the front here, or you can put the weight under his seat. And that's about the only places you can put it. So we have our hood back on, and just real quick, if you want a full instruction or you want to see where the rules are, this is taken from USAC .25 document section. This talks about all the ballast weight, the driver's weight, and everything that we just talked about. And then the next page in this book is you can see all the weights right here. So that's where this information is coming from. But again, this is going to be redone for 2020. So all the weights will have to increase, and mostly the heavy classes.
Thanks for watching our weight video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. See you at the racetrack.